Tonight on 19 Investigates, firefighters thought they were responding to a brush fire. What they found instead launched a murder investigation that remains unsolved 6 years later. Can you help police catch the killer? The cost of beauty goes far beyond money. Now questions about the safety of some hair products are coming to light. We investigate the complaints of women across America. And true crime fans getting a rare behind-the-scenes look at how deaths are really investigated here in Northeast Ohio. We'll take you inside the Citizens Academy that's giving everyday people a chance to see what really happens at the medical examiner's office. Hi everyone, I'm Brian Duffy and welcome to the latest edition of 19 Investigates. This is an in-depth look at what our investigative team, local and national, put together in the past week. And we start with exclusive video. A woman breaking her silence after a police sergeant punched her in the face while she was handcuffed. She's hired an attorney. She now plans to sue that officer and the police department he worked for. 19 investigator Mike Mason has a story you'll see only on 19 News.
Get off my foot now!
Get off that game, dude.
Get off my foot now!
In a matter of seconds, this Parma woman went from being a suspect to a potential assault victim. She asked us to conceal her identity.
It was hard to believe that that was actually me.
She was punched in the face repeatedly by a Brooklyn police officer. Now she's breaking her silence.
But I've had nightmares that I feel like stem from everything that I've seen and that has happened to me.
The trauma.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
The officer is Paul Stein, a sergeant who has since been fired. 19 Investigates obtained this exclusive body cam footage from Brooklyn police. It shows how it all happened.
It is very difficult for me to watch the video that Channel 19 News aired.
On September 4th, police arrested the woman on an outstanding warrant for aggravated menacing. They say she was belligerent and uncooperative with officers. Video shows 7 officers immediately surround her when she arrives. They strap her ankles to a restraint chair. Her hands are already cuffed behind her back. Meanwhile, Stein is standing over her, keeping her shoulders pinned back.
The police officers strapped me to a chair and held me down, while one large police officer crushed my feet with his boots. I was in a lot of pain, and I did not have shoes on.
Video appears to show Stein using his full weight to stand on the woman's stocking feet. We obtained the department's restraint chair policy. It doesn't authorize standing on a suspect's feet. In fact, it doesn't mention it at all. You can hear the woman hollering at Stein several times to get off.
You're hurting me. Get off my feet.
But when Stein doesn't budge, she spits in his face. That's when video shows the sergeant delivering a series of punches to her head. Police documented her bruises. The woman saw the video for the first time on 19 News. She has since hired attorney Keith Hansbrough. She now plans to sue both the police department and Paul Stein.
It wasn't necessary to step on her bare feet with his 250 pounds of weight in his boots to crush her for 3 minutes while she was screaming in pain, and no one did anything. They let it happen.
Would you say that he provoked this?
I think he has a duty to de-escalate, and not only did Paul Stein fail that duty, he actually escalated the situation.
The police chief investigated and terminated Stein. In February, a special prosecutor charged him with misdemeanor assault. Stein has since pleaded not guilty.
You think he should have been charged with something more serious?
A felony.
A felony?
Yes.
We reached out to Stein and his attorney for comment, but we haven't heard back. The city and police department didn't respond to our questions about the restraint chair policy. Stein's pretrial hearing is set for March 2nd. The woman's attorney plans to file his lawsuit sometime this summer. We'll, of course, keep you posted. Mike Mason, 19 News.
It's been 6 years since the brutal murder of a grandmother in Cleveland. Despite the use of new technology and old-fashioned police work, the case remains unsolved, and the victim's family wants answers. Tonight, investigator Sarah Goldenberg is shining a light on this case. Someone out there holds the key to solving this crime. A warning now, some of the details in this story may be disturbing.
She was a mother and a grandmother, but before police knew who the victim was, they knew only this. A body had been found badly burned and partially dismembered in Cleveland's Collinwood neighborhood. And they needed to find out who this victim was. It all started when firefighters got a call on February 19, 2020 for a brush fire near Larchmont and Claremont, but it quickly turned into a murder investigation.
It's very shocking to see this around here. A burning body, I mean, you don't see that every day around this neighborhood.
Police joined firefighters investigating, with everyone from detectives to members of the narcotics, gang impact, and fire arson units on scene. Later, Cleveland police revealed the victim was Bonette Smith. Cleveland's Real-Time Crime Center also helped with the investigation. Police called for help from the public to identify a man and woman. We've blurred these photos now after learning police did find and identify them, and they say they are not suspects in the case. Detectives combed through the evidence, but months, then years passed, and the case went cold. Cleveland police tell me Bonette Smith's unsolved homicide case remains open, and no arrests have been made. Her family is still seeking justice. Can you help investigators solve this case? Sarah Goldenberg, 19 News.
If you have any information at all, you can call CPD's Homicide Unit at 216-623-5464. You can also call Crime Stoppers with anonymous tips at 216-252-7463 or go to 25crime.com. There's a cash reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and indictment of anyone responsible for this crime. A consumer alert now about some popular hair products that may contain chemicals known to cause cancer and other health issues. Our national investigative team found years of research and complaints showing potential problems with products marketed to people with curly and textured hair. As Carice Jackman reports, it's an issue that disproportionately impacts African American women.
It's a cost for beauty. That's what they used to say.
Talk to me about your journey, your hair journey.
I started getting perms or relaxers when I was in the 6th grade. If you let me tell it, I would get a perm every week because it had to be smooth, and I don't have that kind of hair. So as soon as it started curling up, keep us on right here.
Old ads show for black women, straight hair was a social beauty standard.
Hair so soft, silky, and free.
Start with permanent cream relaxer,
which meant getting chemical treatments called relaxers, sometimes called perms in the black community.
I'm 68, so natural hair was considered to be naughty hair. It was a standard of beauty, imposed standard of beauty.
What made you stop?
My hair started getting thin in the top. Medical issues too.
What was the experience like whenever you would get your perms?
Oh God, in the beginning it was awful. My scalp would burn and had little miniature sores. I thought they were just part of the process.
That burn is an experience many African American women feel. Our national investigative team requested and obtained Food and Drug Administration documents showing hundreds of complaints. Our findings from coast to coast in the last 2 decades. Hundreds of people have reported concerning and horrific outcomes they believe were tied to chemical hair straighteners. We saw complaints of bald spots, hair loss, blistering, scars, even hospitalizations after applying to the entire head, chemical burns, and cancer diagnosis. The main chemical in question in many of these products is formaldehyde, which the FDA reports has been linked to eye problems, respiratory issues, and even certain types of cancer like ovarian.
Formaldehyde is one of the active ingredients that makes that product work and that makes your hair so shiny and slick and straight and stay that way for months at a time.
The FDA says formaldehyde and two related ingredients, formalin and methylene glycol, are some of the chemicals consumers should look for on labels.
When the liquid form of formaldehyde, sometimes marketed as methylene glycol, is in these products and gets heated up, it can release a significant amount of formaldehyde gas.
But there are other chemicals flagged by the government too. Our team analyzed around 100 products on popular online beauty supply websites and found more than a dozen listed products contain an ingredient identified by OSHA as one that can release formaldehyde when heated, like with flat ironing or blow drying.
We got those reports related to formaldehyde. There were a lot of them, a lot of women who experienced health issues after getting these treatments or giving these treatments.
Some women have gone to the courts to take action against companies who use formaldehyde in their chemical hair straightening products.
They're so prevalent that they even sell them at gas stations. We want the FDA to act.
But despite a national concern, the FDA has not banned the ingredients, and as of now, has missed its 5th deadline to propose a ban on formaldehyde products. Since 2024, we've reached out to the FDA for comment. A spokesperson told us that the proposed rule continues to remain a priority for the agency and that the FDA may adjust the publication dates of this and other proposed rules when appropriate.
We want these chemical hair relaxers to be taken off the shelves.
As women wait for a change in regulation, many are ditching the relaxers altogether.
But one thing I noticed, you're wearing your hair natural and you've got the continent on your shirt.
Yes.
So did that transition, did it help you get your sense of pride now?
So I'm going to be me in my dress and my hair, and it doesn't have to fit into the status quo.
According to the Environmental Working Group, around 80% of the more than 4,000 products marketed to black women that it analyzed contained ingredients rated as moderate to high hazard. Our national investigative team reached out to some of those companies mentioned in the FDA complaints. To see their full statements, look for this story, The Cost of Beauty, under the 19 Investigates tab on the free 19 News mobile app. Coming up next on 19 Investigates, we continue to look into the cost of beauty for people working behind the chair. Our team combs through dozens of complaints made from salon workers and hears from lawmakers fighting for cancer research related to products marketed to women. And we continue to investigate after a man went to an oral surgeon to have some teeth pulled. He ended up dead 4 days later. That man's wife is now speaking out. The story still ahead. Hairstylists and nail techs spend hours a day in the salon, oftentimes breathing in dangerous chemicals. Investigator Carice Jackman combs through years of complaints and examines the impacts of potentially toxic hair straighteners for the people behind the chair.
I like it more for the moisturizer because it keeps the hair from drying out.
For 35 years, Georgie Golden knew the ins and outs of the salon.
And you knew that when was done, man, I looked like $1 million. And I didn't even have to go buy no house there.
She remembers when the biggest sellers were relaxers.
When you heard about that study, what did you think?
My first thought was, that really couldn't be us. That was my first thought because I didn't know anyone who had. And then as I started reading more, and then as we as women going in the salon and we're talking and we're saying, well, you know, Susan got cancer. Wait a minute. How? What kind? You know, or you hear someone say, oh yeah, Michael got cancer. You know, he was a stylist. And he was like, really?
What she read was a 2022 sister study, research led by the National Institutes of Health that showed a correlation between formaldehyde and uterine cancer after following women for almost 11 years.
No one ever said, hey, this is not good for you. Even though you know formaldehyde is used for embalming.
Georgie herself has had health problems over the years that she's wondered about. After developing polyps, she had a hysterectomy.
When were you diagnosed? And it's lung cancer, correct?
Yes. This past April, I was diagnosed.
Lung cancer, which has been associated with some chemicals used in nail and hair salons.
I forego drinking, I forego smoking, and then I became sick and I wound up with cancer. And I was like, I didn't do anything. How did this happen? And then had to start going back through the times. Yeah, I did nails. Formaldehyde was right there.
Our national investigative team wanted to examine how hairstylists and employees in hair salons are impacted by the chemicals they're breathing in. We asked the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, for a copy of all complaints submitted to the agency about formaldehyde dangers affecting hair salon owners and workers over the past 5 years. We received 40 complaints from across the country and noticed a pattern coast to coast. Several owners and employees complained about the lack of ventilation within their salons. Some expressing concerns about not having safety data sheets about those chemicals. Concerns Georgie says even the inspectors that visited her salon didn't pick up on.
And never once did an inspector say, what we're breathing in is toxic.
Not once.
One OSHA hazard alert showed it investigated a series of Brazilian blowout products, finding some were listed as formaldehyde-free. But on-site testing showed they indeed found formaldehyde in the air.
These chemicals in these hair relaxers have proven to be dangerous.
Congresswoman Shontel Brown and some other lawmakers are not only calling on the FDA to ban chemical hair products like formaldehyde, but are also pushing for additional legislation to study uterine cancer and other illnesses related to chemical hair straighteners.
We want people to be able to beautify themselves without worrying about if this is going to give me any adverse health effects.
On a state level, California, Washington, and Maryland have banned or restricted formaldehyde in cosmetics.
We have women in every state, right? We make up 51% of the population, so this shouldn't be a controversial thing, but we definitely, given the number of people who are impacted by it, should have more resources put into researching this.
Back at home, Georgie is retired and doing her best to stay healthy.
We as women of color, we want to have the image that they have said we should have. And as they said, beauty costs. And we are paying the cost for that beauty.
Health experts say if you have any concerns as a hair salon owner and hairstylist, you can report your concerns to OSHA. The number is 1-800-321-OSHA. A Lorain County man went to the dentist for a routine tooth extraction, but he never came home. Now, his wife is sharing what she remembers about that tragic day. Next week, the State Dental Board will meet to discuss what actions, if any, it will take against the surgeon who performed the procedure. Investigator Mike Mason has the family's emotional story.
So I'll hang around as long as you will let me.
To friends and family, Matthew Miller was a big teddy bear.
He was huge. Everybody knows he was huge. But there was a crap ton of muscle under that.
Matthew was a successful business owner, but he always made time for his wife and kids.
He was a football coach. He was a baseball coach.
In August 2023, Matthew needed to have 3 of his teeth pulled.
I think that he had broken a couple and they were bothering him. They said, oh, you got to go see an oral surgeon to get those removed.
Matthew went to the Visage Surgical Institute in Medina. Dr. Faisal Qureshi performed the procedure. Matthew's wife, Brandy, and their youngest son, Waylon, waited outside. Within minutes, it became clear that something was horribly wrong.
I said, hey, Doc, how's he doing? And he said, not good. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I gave him the medication, and then he stopped breathing, and his heart stopped. And the paramedics are here working on him now. And I reached over my son, and I grabbed his hand, and I said, pray now.
But Matthew never recovered. After 4 days at the hospital, he was pronounced dead. The medical examiner determined he stopped breathing because of the drugs he received while under sedation. The Ohio State Dental Board investigated. Last May, it notified Qureshi it intended to suspend or revoke his license to practice dentistry. The board alleged he failed to conduct a full medical evaluation of Miller prior to surgery. It also accused Qureshi of failing to adequately monitor Miller while he was under anesthesia. During a deposition last year, attorneys questioned Qureshi about how he performed the procedure.
Would you have done anything differently in this case in hindsight?
No. What would you say to Qureshi if you were in the same room with him today?
As a Christian, I'd want to say I forgive you. But after seeing his deposition where he said, I wouldn't change anything, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
Brandy attended the board's hearing in October. Last month, a hearing examiner recommended suspending Qureshi's anesthesia license for up to a year. But Brandy says that's not enough.
With everything that we've found, everything that the dental board has found, he should not be practicing.
You don't have to call me darling. Darling.
The hearing examiner said Matthew's death was an isolated failure. We reached out to Qureshi and his attorney, but they didn't want to comment. Brandy Miller's attorneys are still gathering evidence in their lawsuit against Qureshi. The State Dental Board will meet on March 4th in Columbus to decide what actions, if any, they'll be taking against him. We'll, of course, keep you posted. Mike Mason, 19 News.
So forget what you've seen on NCIS. A one-of-a-kind academy right here in Northeast Ohio is showing us what forensic science actually looks like. And it's changing the way people think about life, death, and the people who investigate both. Investigator Sarah Goldenberg takes us inside the Citizens Academy at the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office.
We need to call the elite forensic team of More and More for this one.
That's Cassandra and Derek Moore showing off their creative side in this audition video they sent to get into the Citizens Academy.
We like to watch a lot of crime movies together, see if we can solve them.
The husband and wife team wanted to see how crimes are really solved and get an idea of what's true and what's not on the TV shows like NCIS they love. Spoiler alert, they found most of it's not what you see on TV.
I think there's a lot of misconception, again, about when they come to the morgue, how are they treated?
For another graduate, social worker Lindsay Koch, the Citizens Academy answered questions she faces a lot at the hospital.
I love my job, but the problem is that I have no idea what to tell families when they ask about the body of their loved one going to the medical examiner.
She says what she learned has been priceless for on and off the job.
I really wasn't quite sure what went on at the medical examiner's office. I had some preconceived notions that I found out were very much untrue. So doing this class actually helped me to better support families and explain to them realistic next steps of what would happen with their loved one.
We can flip them over. Let's flip them over this way.
Her favorite parts, the autopsy and mock death scenes, and learning about the people who work there.
They were really respectful. It really changed my perception of what I thought it would be like here. for the positive.
That's something Cassandra and Derek agree with.
They are very passionate about what they're doing. They care about the field that they're working in, and they're very careful with other people's loved ones.
In the Citizens Academy, people come from all different walks of life. Cassandra is the executive assistant to the mayor of Cleveland, and Derek is a retired operational manager for Metro Health.
Maybe they were trying to balance their checkbook or something over there.
The Citizens Academy bridges the gap between the TV world and reality, says Christopher Harris, External Affairs Manager at the Medical Examiner's Office.
So I think a lot of our participants are really appreciative to find out what truly goes on during an autopsy, what truly happens during a death investigation, and things don't come together in just 45 minutes plus commercials.
The Academy is unique for a medical examiner's office to have, and it's been a passion of Harris's ever since he created it back in 2019. Since then, 300 people have graduated. Hands-on courses focus on forensic pathology, trace evidence, fingerprinting, and observing an autopsy, offering transparency and building public trust.
So this is a way for us to connect with the community and the community to connect with us.
Applications for the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office Citizens Academy are now open. If you want, you can send them a short pitch video like Cassandra, Derek, and Lindsay. The deadline to apply for the Spring Academy is March 6th. Sarah Goldenberg, 19 News.
The new academy begins April 2nd and runs once a week on Thursday evenings for 10 weeks. Costs $100. You also have to live or work in Cuyahoga County to be eligible. We have the link to the application and more information on the free 19 News mobile app. Look for it in the 19 Investigates section. The stories we showed you today are streaming now on 19 News Plus. You can download the app for free on your Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire TV device. Next week on 19 Investigates, if your child needs surgery, you would go to the end of the earth to find the right hospital and the right surgeon. But we discovered information about how many pediatric surgical procedures are being done at specific hospitals isn't being publicly reported, leaving parents in the dark. The story coming up next week on 19 Investigates. I'm Brian Duffy. Thanks for watching.